This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
All right, Curtis, Merry Christmas, first of all.
Wait a second. You're
What's
the
that?
Hanukkah boy. What do you wish you mean Merry Christmas?
I can wish you a Merry Christmas.
You're going to be lighting your Hanukkah candles tonight?
I am. Well, just one, because tonight's the first night. So
that means I get ripped off by my two youngest sons, Hanukkah gifts every night, right?
Well, you don't have to give them a gift every night. You could do like one big one.
Well, that's what I wanted to do for Christmas. They said, well, we'll take that too. So, Christmas gifts, one gift per child,
wow.
Each of the 8 nights of Hanukkah. When does it stop?
I don't know.
When does it end?
And they're old enough now that they're asking for like expensive items, not like dopey little kids things.
No. They get what I could get at the 99-cent Jack stores.
Wow, so they must be really happy with it.
But then again, if you've been in a 99-cent Jack store lately, no.
I love Jack's. Jack's is great. You talking about the one on 33rd Street?
Of course.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's for 99 cents. Nothing.
No.
Not even a toothpick.
No, but there is things for like $5 that you can get there.
Yeah, well, I saw you walking out with a whole bag of those items.
Right.
I was wondering if you were shoplifting them.
Right. Yeah.
You notice in that 99-cent Jack store, they got security everywhere. You go to a normal retail store, right, which are higher-end items, they've got no security.
Well, that is true, but people are ripping off Jack's like nobody's business because they put a bunch of stuff down their pants or in their purse or whatever, and they walk out of there.
And there are 2 ways in and out. You see, that's the problem.
True. There's the back door. I forgot about that.
Right, 32nd and 33rd.
That's right.
What genius ever decided to have a retail establishment in, of all places, right, where you shoplift morning, noon, and night, and nothing happens to you?
But the truth is, you can buy like last year's M&Ms, like a pound for like $2.
Oh, so that's what you do at Noam Laden's house, right? Is it kosher, by the way?
I don't know if
you
M&Ms
don't
are kosher.
care, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're talking Christmas and not Hanukkah.
Right.
But let's get down to what the hell, Justin Ellick, was that flock or flip-flop?
It was you're talking about James Flippin here, right?
Yeah, the guy on before us who wouldn't even do his program from Studio A here. He's such a diva now. He's down the hallway. He uses John Katzmatidis' special studio, when we're all on the air.
How did he get permission to do that?
He didn't ask for permission. He just did it.
Wow, all right.
Notice, did he come in? Did he say, Happy Merry Christmas to you?
He did not.
He didn't come in to us. He came in. They call it, in fact, the Cousin Brucey entrance, an exit. Cousin Brucey has a special entrance and exit. When the hell did he get the right to do that?
And then at the end of the show, he says goodbye to the flip flock, as he called it.
Or is it the flip floppers?
No, I think it's the flip flock. Now, I imagine he came up with this idea somewhere.
By the way, I will have to give him a beatdown, as I've always done, to the 8 enrolled members of the Curtis Sliwa boot camp, talk radio boot camp.
Who are the other 7?
Well, number one graduate is Dominic Carter. He has earned that title of this era's Black Bob Grant. And you heard the promos, right?
He's great.
That guy Peter, he goes nuts on it. Peter used to call up Bob Grant. In that promo you hear, Peter, he used to call up Bob Grant.
Oh, that's great.
And I mean, he beat that guy Peter down to a pulp. I mean, that's great. But does Flippin understand today is Christmas? Does he quite get that? I mean, I'm really going to have to give him a pimp slap, a beatdown.
Well, in fairness to him, he is a new member of the Curtis Sliwa, talk show boot camp.
Who the hell does he think he is?
Fact,
Edward R. Murrow? It was like he was Edward R. Murrow. Even Edward R. Murrow did celebrity interviews that amounted to nothing. Like, remember, he's interviewing, I'll never forget, Liberace.
Right.
Liberace is there at his palatial home, his ranch home in Vegas, because, he was on every night. Hey, I understand there may be a marriage in the future, Liberace, and he mentioned this showgirl. Oh, yeah, Everybody knew Liberace was gay.
Right.
And Edward R. Murrow smoking cigarettes. Remember, that was the time you 4 packs a day. Oh, that's very plausible. Oh, he goes, what about your mother? Because he was a real Mama Luke from Milwaukee. Oh, Mom can't wait for me to bring home, blankety blank to Showgirl. Meantime, he had a guy stashed on the side.
Yeah. Even
I knew that as a kid watching that. You could tell that Liberace was not a heterosexual. So, I'm going to really have to take it to, in fact, listen, I want you to listen to James Flippin, right?
All right.
Listen to what he had to say.
Still so much to do here on the Brian Kilmeade Show. James Flippin filling in, and you, the listeners, are sharing with us so many fun Christmas memories and times that you've spent with family and all that uplifting stuff that comes with the season. But I'm here to tell you, you can really learn a lot about some of your coworkers by things that happened to them when they were younger. And in terms of any of us who have worked with Curtis Sliwa, whoa, there is some stuff to be learned about the Christmas history of Curtis. It's a Curtis Christmas.
I will be talking about my previous Curtis Christmas.
What is he talking about?
Oh, I know. He's going to talk about my Uncle Steve.
Huh. I haven't heard the Uncle Steve story.
Stacy. Oh, please, in the newsroom, you got to be paying attention. But you see, that was a good tease, right?
Yeah, great tease.
Now that, I got to give him 5 stars top shelf.
Mm-hmm.
But every 15 minutes in his 2 hours of substituting for Brian Kilmeade, I don't know, he's got this tick. Listen to what he said at length. And then every 15 minutes thereafter, like Tourette syndrome, that tick kept coming back.
Huh. Supposedly, when Neely was a Michael Jackson impersonator and doing his down in the underground, Shimona.
And so every 15 minutes thereafter.
He did that?
Yeah, he's talking about Elon Musk, right? I forget what he was talking about. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what?
Shimona.
I'm more insulted as a Michael Jackson fan that that's just a terrible imitation.
Wait. You worship the pedophile on a pedestal?
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worship him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is every 15 minutes? Does he have like a Tourette syndrome with that?
Maybe he does.
Shimona.
No, I mean, seriously. He's right in the middle of a very serious discourse. Too serious for Christmas. And then out of nowhere, and then like 15 minutes later,
Shimona.
What the hell is that?
That is bizarre. I got to give you that. That's strange.
Well, people have had Tourette syndrome in radio. Who's that character participated with Howard Stern, remember?
Sometimes Stuttering John.
Right,
yeah.
They'd have to drag him out, because he'd be dropping the F-bomb with Tourette.
Right, yeah.
But I never knew you could have a Tourette syndrome in what they call the spoken word, this form of radio. And every 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes after,
Shimona.
I like the Shimona.
Shimona.
Come on now, you gotta.
I'm gonna have to talk to him about that.
Because before, in just this news broadcast, it's not 15 minutes.
No, it's 5 minutes.
Right. So it never surfaced.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of late.
Huh.
There's got to be something. Maybe it's a trigger. I don't know what it is.
Maybe he was invited to Neverland Ranch back in the day. Is that possible?
Either that or it's because I really beat him down before his first substitution, and I said, I don't want to dare hear the year in politics, the year in pop culture, the year in sports, like all talk radio does, like all talk TV. We don't do it here. Where you came from originally, women's only radio. Yeah. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
This was the year in politics 2024. It didn't sound good the first time on women's only radio, and it sounds worse the second time.
And it's always a signal that it's been pre-recorded, by the way.
Exactly.
That means you did it like 2 weeks ago, and they're going to roll it back while you're on vacation.
Lazy.
Yeah.
And so whether it's MSNBC or CNN or Fox News Channel, they're doing the same thing. It's like, that is lazy.
And I never had a moment when I'm watching these where I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe that happened this year. That's never happened.
I forgot that. Thank you. And it's so repetitious, so obnoxious, so repetitive, like parrots. So I think he freaked out when I sat him down in Studio B, and I basically read him the riot act. Because Justin Ellick, board operator, executive producer for Sid Rosenberg, if in any of his substitutions he digresses into what talk show hosts and hostesses do, the year in politics, I am going to flip a switch, and it's going to be me. He's going to continue to talk.
This is something I need to talk to you about because I am a little worried about the fact that you're attacking somebody that has attended the Curtis Sliwa boot camp. You said he was a great candidate. He's done very well.
Well, he was special ed.
Oh, was he
I
special
do
ed?
accept some special ed candidates.
That's very nice of you.
Well, because, remember, in high school we played football without a helmet.
Right.
And we see the residual effects because every 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. And he did play football in high school.
He did, without a helmet. And then all of a sudden.
Right.
Shimona.
I mean, there is a little bit of I'm a little worried, though, that maybe you're attacking my good friend James Flippin because he has stolen hours of talk radio that back in the day, as soon as even last year, you would have been given. You would have been doing
well, you're very perceptive.
The Kilmeade show, but except he's doing it. And I think you're angry that you didn't get all the hours between 6 a.m. this morning and 1 a.m. this afternoon.
You are so right. I mean, that was something I would normally have done. Right? I would have done the 4 hours with Katz, substituting for Sid. Then I would have done the 2 hours for Brian Kilmeade, then the 12 noon to 1 Rip and Read that I do on a regular basis.
And it would have been the always broadcasting Curtis, which in my estimation would be too much of Curtis Sliwa.
Well, we didn't ask you
hours.
to put your 2 cents plain in.
7 hours, actually.
Right? How do you know it doesn't stand for always broadcasting Cats? Huh?
Well, that'd be a different story.
Yeah. Oh, then all of a sudden, that's A-OK.
Well, he signs my paycheck.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I'm really, he's getting too big for his britches, James Flippin.
Yeah, maybe just a little, especially with those Michael Jackson ticks and references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did he get that from?
Actually, the more I hear it, it's not terrible.
He was the captain of the football team, right? Yeah. So here it is. He's the middle linebacker, the huddle defense, and he would be saying this in the huddle.
I think he might have played back in the day when they had leather helmets. Maybe that's what it was. Oh,
he didn't have a helmet on. I saw the yearbook picture.
Oh, no helmet.
No helmet Flippin.
That explains a lot, actually.
He's suffering the residual. What was that? Glen Ridge? What high school did he go to?
I forget. Bloomfield High, something like that.
No, not Bloomfield High. Oh, excuse me. That's... he moved down a few.
Glen Ridge is like wealthy community.
Glen
Ridge.
Glen Ridge.
It's Glen Ridge.
Yeah, Glen
Rock.
Glen Rock. That's where he went.
Oh, okay.
All Wasps all the time.
Yeah.
And there he was, he's middle linebacker. Okay, guys, in this thing, Flip, your helmet. Your helmet. And then he'd be doing a moonwalk in the defensive huddle and then screaming out Michael Jackson things.
Shimona.
The weird part is he still wore his mouth guard.
Yes.
He didn't wear his helmet.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, because he was a Wasp. Now he's a hillbilly living in Bloomfield.
Yeah.
As you know, he deep fries his turkeys. The fire marshals put a cease and desist order on him because, it can cause fires.
Well, this year especially, yeah.
Why the hell would this Wasp, this hillbilly, move to Bloomfield with all the Italians? I mean, come on.
I don't know. It's a good question to ask him.
You got a lot of explaining to do, Noam Lady. And you're his boss. He immediately answers to you. You're the news director. You brought him over from Women's Only Radio.
I did, and he's done pretty well.
He has. But I can't deal with this any longer. He's into his spiel for 15 minutes. And then out of nowhere. And then 15 minutes later,
Shimona.
Come on, no.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I'm definitely going to go call him right when I finish.
And you got to let him know when we're doing a Christmas show, don't strain the brain. Elon Musk, Vivid Squammy, oh my God, give me a break, Flippin'.
Yeah, it might have been better if he'd done a lot of more Christmas references in the show, yeah.
Well, you know what a Wasp Christmas is like.
No, what is a Wasp Christmas like?
Oh, man, the Methodists, the Presbyterians, the old school.
What do they do?
One small little slice of roast beef.
Right.
And then you get...
And they plate it, so you can't ask for seconds.
Exactly.
Right?
No, there are no seconds. Yeah. Lots of seconds drinking scotch.
Right. That's not a problem.
Oh, my God, you can drink bottles.
You can have 6 fingers, not just
totally.
2. Yeah.
but one little slice of roast beef.
Right.
Then you get the asparagus tips.
Just like 3 of them.
Right. The green mold jello.
Right, yeah.
That's on your plate.
With the floating fruit in the
right.
middle.
Little mashed potatoes. Very little.
Right.
And you can see that when they go in their cabinet, everything's in Tupperware marked off.
Right.
So there's like a quota of what you can use. Now, this is what wasps do. But when it comes to liquor, it flows. You want a bottle of scotch on your own? Go ahead.
Right.
You want another bottle? Go ahead.
Right.
That's a wasp Christmas.
You can starve, but there'll be enough drink for
Exactly, because they'll remind you, what about those children in Biafra that you used to go around the houses during Halloween and collect for UNICEF instead of collect candy for yourself? Remember those children with the bloated stomachs in Biafra?
And the orange boxes.
Right, the civil war with Nigeria at that time. Come on, man, you got to do something with James. He wouldn't even come into Studio A and do the program.
No, and then that weird, incredibly strange tick. Yeah. And then this one.
Shimona.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you like, what the hell is going on? And he's doing a moonwalk while he's doing the show.
And he's very good at it, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He used to go with Spike Lee, before they recognized that Michael Jackson was a pedophile on a pedestal. Every year, Prospect Park, everybody would come dressed up like Michael Jackson.
I remember that.
Remember with Spike Lee, 40 Acres and a Mule? And I could have swore that I saw James Flynn there.
And he sounded a little bit like this.
Yes. And he's so good with that other one.
Shimona.
So you'll straighten him out, right?
I'm going to straighten him out right now.
Next up, the King of Denmark has now put $1 billion aside to defend Greenland against an invasion by the United States because of Donald Trump. You're not going to want to miss this. We're live and local here at WABC.
Hi, it's Elliot. The Enchanted Village is back. See the laser light show, play the reindeer games, skate on the enchanted ice, and ride the tube. Take photos with Santa and my favorite, the Jordan's Blueberry Muffins. The village is free, and tickets to all the attractions are available online with some of the proceeds donated to charity. The Enchanted Village only happens once a year at Jordan's Furniture in Avon. Come experience a magical time of year with your family.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar. What if I told you this holiday season you can stuff your face with tasty, craveable snacks and wait for it, feel great? Hi, I'm Will, founder of IQ Bar, the only plant protein bar formulated for your body and your brain. IQ Bar's brain-boosting nutrients are designed to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger with zero sugar crash. Featuring delicious holiday flavors like gingerbread, IQ Bars are the less than 200-calorie snack that satisfies your sweet tooth and your protein goals. Right now, take 25% off all IQ Bar products and get free shipping. Also, check out our other limited edition holiday flavors like Peppermint Mocha Jitter-Free IQ Joe Coffee. Clean ingredients, fantastic taste, and zero regrets. 'Tis the season to refuel smarter, hydrate harder, and caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code AUDIO to get 25% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code AUDIO.
This song dedicated to the Norsemen. That's right, the Vikings from Norway, from Denmark, the Scandinavian countries. And it's perfect because King Frederick X of Denmark, all of these welfare cheats, these slackers, these deadbeats from these European countries that still have kings and queens and royalty, has laid down the gauntlet to our President Donald Trump. He has said, you will never, ever get any of the ice, snow, or occasional green that is best known on the world's largest island, which, by the way, he insisted is a territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. He is now sending out sleighs with dogs, with volunteers from Denmark. Yeah, like they're going to give up their lutefisk, Fiskapals, and Copenhagen beer. No way. But actually, before there was ever any Danes there was the Norwegians. There were the Vikings. Eric the Red and his son, Leif Erikson, who actually settled the first European settlements on what is still considered part of North America. Yeah, Greenland is considered part of North America. And from there, they did the hop, skip, and a jump. If you actually believe the squareheads, the Norwegians who have their annual parade right there in Bay Ridge up Fifth Avenue in honor of Leif Erikson and Eric the Red, who they say discovered the New World. Oh, yeah, they say not Christopher Columbus, sorry, Irish, not St. Brendan the Navigator. No, Eric the Red and his son Leif Erikson, who sailed those Norse ships to Vinland, better known as Newfoundland, the maritime provinces, and what eventually became Halifax. Now, I never bought any of that crap, but they certainly did. Hey, you know, if I didn't say Christopher Columbus in my neighborhood, I'd catch a beatdown. Who discovered the New World, Curtis? Of course it was Christopher Columbus. Hey, the Irish Christian nuns, the Josephite nuns at St. Matthew's, where I went on Eastern Parkway, Utica Avenue, they drilled into me, you better answer that question on your history test, St. Brendan the Navigator. I did, in order to get an A. But when I went back to Canarsie, of course it's Christopher Columbus. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa, and the Maria. Yeah, there were 4 ships, Justin Ellick. Don't give me that 3 ships. There was a 4th ship. But Eric the Red and Leif Erikson, if you went into Bay Ridge and Sunset Park, which is where all the squareheads were, the Norwegians, according to my father, a merchant mariner for 50 years, the best seafaring men in the world were from Norway. And they colonized Bay Ridge, and they colonized Sunset Park. And they believe that it's Eric the Red and his son, Leif Erikson, who discovered the New World. And now the King of Denmark is summoning volunteers to man the ice caves, to go into the world's largest island where it's mostly ice, but because of global warming and climate change, it's melting quickly, and defend the honor of the Kingdom of Denmark against the man he calls the Orange Man, Donald Trump. This guy's lost his mind. You know, they don't have euros there. They have the Danish krones. I know, I've had guardian angels in Copenhagen. This guy thinks that Donald Trump, when he's sworn in on January 20th, instead of deporting all the illegal aliens in the greatest deportation of all time, is instead going to invade Greenland. That's why you got to get rid of all these kings and queens. You know, they live in a different era. They're slackers, they're deadbeats, they're welfare checks. King Frederick X, it's time for you to retire. Maybe to Puerto Rico, because remember it was Donald Trump who originally, after the hurricane in Puerto Rico when he was president the first time, said, hey, why don't we just swap straight up Puerto Rico for Greenland?
Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la. Santa's got a little friend, his name is Dominic. The cutest little donkey, you never see him kick. When Santa visits his paisans with Dominic, he'll be, because the reindeer cannot climb the hills of Italy. Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey.
This is the new theme song for Dominic Carter. Will be coming up live and locally. No best of, that's worst of. No review of what it was like in 2024. No, we don't do that here. It's such a heavy news cycle. You know Dominic's going to get right into it from 3 to 4, and I'm going to join him at the end as I do on the Tunnel to Tower segment, and this will be the intro song. This is the new theme song for Dominic Carter, who has been labeled the Black Bob Grant of WABC.
Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, the Italian Christmas donkey.
Although he's really not a Democrat, I mean, he was pro-Trump before anybody else here was pro-Trump back in 2013 at the old WABC. So maybe it's Dominic, the Christmas elephant, right? Because that's the symbol of the GOP. But anyway, this is Christmas Day. Hanukkah begins tonight, and it takes us right into New Year's, the dropping of the ball. So normally it would have been best of, which is worst of, retrospective, look back. And as Noam Layden indicated, all of that would have been pre-recorded, so you didn't need anybody in the studios. We don't do that here at WABC, the number one station across the nation by day, coast to coast, and we have become the number one station at night globally, bigger than the BBC 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, I had to do an interview with the BBC about all the crime problems in our subway compared to their underground. I mean, oh, my God, what a difference. And I have guardian angels in London on the Northern Line, so I'm well aware of the differences. But let's get down to the Curtis Sliwa retrospective, because what was it? What was it that James Flippin was alluding to in terms of all the deep, dark secrets he was going to say about the early years of Curtis Sliwa and my scarred Christmas experiences?
Still so much to do here on the Brian Kilmeade Show. James Flippin filling in, and you, the listeners, are sharing with us so many fun Christmas memories and times that you've spent with family and all that uplifting stuff that comes with the season. But I'm here to tell you, you can really learn a lot about some of your coworkers by things that happened to them when they were younger. And in terms of any of us who have worked with Curtis Sliwa, whoa, there is some stuff to be learned about the Christmas history of Curtis. It's a Curtis Christmas.
Oh, yeah. And I was scarred. I was traumatized at a very young age. So remember, part of me from my mother's side is Barese. The Italian tradition in southern Italy is the night of the seven fishes on Christmas Eve. And so we would all go over to my Aunt Mary, who was an older sister of my mother, Francesca, and she had married Steve Stacy, who was Polish. He had grown up in an orphanage in Detroit, and he became the brewmaster at Stroh's Brewery right there in Detroit. And guess what, Justin? You knew he was the brewmaster. He reeked of beer, and he was always half in the bag because he said I had to keep testing, Yeah, okay, Uncle Steve. So Uncle Steve every day would take the A train from Howard Beach and then switch at Broadway Junction and take the J train to Bushwick, I think to Kosciuszko. That's where the Rheingold Brewery was. And, boy, they'd have a great Christmas party for all the kids. You didn't have to be, an immediate sibling or relative. You could be an extended family member. It was great. And then so we would all go over to Aunt Mary's, all of the Bianchino family, because she would just prepare the night of the seven fishes. It was great. Then you would go home, and then you would come back the next day for Christmas. And the 10-course Italian meal, which started with, by the way, and I need the sound of a horse, please, because you would start with the brodo, normally the tortellini in broth, and then the next thing was the braciole. The braciole is really made of horse meat. And so the Italians eat more horse meat than any other country in the world. Second are the Argentines. You could tell Pope Francis is more Italian than he ever was Argentine. And that was the second course. Then you had to have lasagna in one of the courses. And it just went on until all the Italian pastries at the end, the cannolis, the strudels, the Napoleons, everyone playing cards, smoking up like a chimney. But the kids, we sat off to the side on the kids' table. And we would just watch the adults, and we would say, man, I don't want to be like Uncle Jimmy Scavone. Man, he smoked those Chesterfield unfiltered cigarettes. The place, man, just smelled the cigarette smoke. And we'd watch, and they were cheating each other on cards. Our own relatives were cheating one another on cards. My cousin Joey would have cards. He'd be sitting on it, and he'd be pulling them out. And then my uncle Vincenz would say, hey, wait a second. There's like 60 cards in this deck. What happened? I think it's 52 cards in the deck? I think something like that. So they cheat their own relatives. And then my Uncle Steve would come over to us kids because naturally we wanted the presents that were there in Aunt Mary's house. Just like you got your own presents at your home from Santa Claus. And then they always created this image that Santa Claus made a second stop because it was right near JFK Airport. And in the flyover, he would stop and leave you a second batch of presents. So all my cousins had presents, which were really from my Aunt Mary and Uncle Steve. So my Uncle Steve would come over, and he would say, kids, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. That's me working overtime for those presents. What do you mean, Uncle Steve? Oh, there is no such thing as Santa Claus. Oh, he broke my heart, my cousin's heart, the Supreme Cousine's hearts, the Cousinette's hearts. We were stunned. You say, hey, you see all those presents you're opening up? Courtesy of your aunt, who's a hairdresser, works 6 days a week, and me, 7 days a week as the brewmaster at Rheingold Beer in Bushwick. Yeah, Uncle Steve, we could smell it. That was a traumatic occasion. At a very young, tender age of 6 years old at Aunt Mary's house, I learned there was no Santa Claus. And then while running around, while my uncles and aunts were playing cards and gossiping, I tripped on I had to wear orthopedic shoes because I had flat feet. I tripped, and I smashed right into the side of the wall, cut my head, had to be rushed to Jamaica Hospital for my first stitches right after I learned there was no Santa Claus. You understand, ladies and gentlemen, I was traumatized at a very young age. Normally, like 9 or 10, maybe you find out there's no Santa Claus. For some, a little later. But my Uncle Steve, he wanted everyone to know that, hey, those presents there, that's me working at Rheingold. That's your Aunt Mary as a hairdresser there. Right on Remsen and Avenue B in East Flatbush. All the Jewish gals want to get their hair coloring, for the weekend. And they go to your aunt. Just know it's all hard work. Who the hell needed to hear that? I mean, God. And then I busted my head, cracked it wide open, and got the first 7 stitches. Hey, 7. The 7 sacraments, the 7 fishes, my first 7 stitches of hundreds of stitches that came afterwards. My Christmas at the age of 6 was traumatized by my Uncle Steve and Stacy. Oh, God, he's probably in a bathtub of beer somewhere up there in heaven. Now, would it be Stroh's? He worked at Schlitz, Rheingold, Schaefer. You have one, you have more than one. Never worked at Ballantine. My God, why'd you do that, Uncle Steve? Why? Padre, Filio, Spiritus Sancto. Last night, once again, the Christmas Eve Mass that is featured in all the newscasts of Cardinal Dolan. I think he's got one more before mandatory retirement at 75. But Christmas Eve Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral is always packed to the rafters. Our own John Katzimatidis and Margot, owners and operators of WABC, are always in attendance right up at the front. Normally, whoever governor is there, whoever mayor is there. And you saw Eric Adams there, swagger man, with a plan to become a MAGA man and get pardoned from his indictments. He finally has a plan to become a MAGA man and get pardoned from his indictments by Donald Trump. But John Katzimatidis, who has been at those masses, I think, for 30 years, made an observation this morning when he came on the morning show as he and I substituted for Sid, who's away until after January 1st. And it was very poignant to what's going on in the city now.
Eric Adams came, and he was sitting in the front row. And the only difference is nobody ran up to him. You know how in the old days everybody would run up to the mayor or the governor that's in the front row and shake hands, and nobody ran up to him.
That's true. John Catsimatidis, the first to report that. Well, let's analyze why. If you happen to be a Democrat, you don't want to be in any photo with Eric Adams when it is perceived that he's going to flip the script. And any moment to save his political life and to get his pre-pardon, which he so desperately wants, he's going to become a Republican. I mean, all signs are that he will fly to Mar-a-Lago between now and the inauguration. He has told his police detail, they are rats there that inform me of everything he does, that expect any moment to get the word, wheels up, we're flying to West Palm Beach. And if you're chosen as part of my security detail, you drop everything and you go with me. And he will have to kiss the ring, and he will have to pledge loyalty to President Donald Trump, who on January 20th will become the 47th president of the United States at 2 o'clock. And Eric Adams is expecting a quid pro quo, which is to get a pre-pardon from his indictments. And by the way, an update is the other individual who is indicted with the Turkish money, the businessman here who did the straw donors, has already pled guilty and has joined Team America. So he's going to testify against Eric Adams. That ain't good. Eric needs to make sure this never goes to trial, because there's about $10 million all said and done of money from Turkey that ended up going into the coffers of Team Eric Adams. He does not ever want that to get out. So he's now banked on everything becoming a Republican, going for a pardon, and Democrats, or people who are supportive of Democrats, do not want to be seen in a picture with Eric Adams, or the mass multitude of Democrats in New York City and New York State will think that they're Judas, that they're ultraditors. But then, interesting, the longest-serving police commissioner in the history of the NYPD, with all the chaos and no leadership at the top from the appointees of Eric Adams, all of his homeboys. You remember, first there was the deputy mayor of public safety, Phil Banks, unindicted co-conspirator who ratted on cops so he wouldn't go to jail for corruption. He became deputy mayor of public safety, even though everybody said, Eric, don't do that. That's my homeboy. I knew his daddy. Then, of course, Timothy Pearson, who was not only skimming money on these no-bid contracts that he was responsible for with the migrant shelters, screaming at the beneficiaries, hey, where's my crumbs? How come there's no kickback to me? And, of course, the most udiscrazia of all, Jeffrey Madrick, number 2 in the police department, who was a predator, a sexual predator. He has a history of that. Eric Adams didn't care. That's my homie. And so now he's got to leave the police department of Jessica Tisch, although he so desperately wants to be the police commissioner. Desperately. Listen to what former police commissioner Ray Kelly had to say about Eric Adams, swagger man who finally has a plan to become a Republican, to become MAGA, and get a pre-pardon so that he will not be found guilty of accepting foreign money from Erdogan in Turkey.
Just because you're a cop, or just because you worked as a computer programmer in the transit police, doesn't mean that you know strategy, tactics, personnel issues, budget issues. It's a big job.
Yep. And what would Eric Adams know? Because as Ray Kelly knew, he was police commissioner at that time. Eric Adams was a computer programmer at night in the transit police and became a house mouse. Never made a collar, never basically ever patrolled outside of the precinct. He hid in the precinct. He got his white shirt immunity by taking civil service tests. And most importantly, he became the leader of the 100 angry blacks in law enforcement. So he became an agitator, if nothing more. And as you know, Justin Ellick had his first perp walk ever. He truly believes that he's responsible for collaring Luigi Mangione, who was nailed in Pennsylvania. And then eventually, hey man, whatever happened to that McDonald's employee who ID'd Luigi? She never got the $60,000 promised to her by the NYPD, $10,000, FBI, $50,000. They said only upon indictment, conviction, and incarceration. How crazy is that? But the mayor said that he went up to Luigi in that perp walk and said, "You're in my town. I'm the sheriff here. You're my collar." Oh, my God. We've got a mayor who can't manage the city, who thinks he's the police commissioner and thinks that Luigi Mangione is his first collar.